Hello everyone, it's your brother Yahya Bakid. Today, it's been a while since I've done some educative videos. Today, I'll be looking at this video, 6 problems with our education or school system. What is wrong with our school system? I got this title and from my YouTube channel, and I'm intrigued to react to it and get to know what is it about our school system that is the problem. As it is mentioned here, 6 problems with our school system. Personally, I don't think, personally in my own view, I don't think there is a problem with our school systems. I think our school systems are fine. It produces the best lawyers, the best educators, the best engineers, things are building up, like technology is improving. But what do these people think? What does this video think is the problem with our school system? So let's find out together.
There is a growing feeling today that something is wrong with our system of education. But what is it? Well, we send our children to school to prepare them for the real world, which is changing very, very fast. But our schools haven't changed much for hundreds of years. In fact, thought leaders from around the world agree that the current system of education was designed in the industrial age mainly to churn out factory workers. And this industrial age mentality of mass production and mass control still runs deep in schools. Industrial age values. We educate children by batches and govern their lives by ringing bells. All day long, students do nothing but follow instructions. Sit down. Take out your books. Turn to page 40. Solve problem number 3. Stop talking. At school, you're rewarded for doing exactly what you are told. These are industrial age values that were really important for factory workers. Their success depended on following instructions and doing exactly what they were told. But in today's world, how far can you get by simply following instructions? The modern world values people who can be creative, who can communicate their ideas and collaborate with others. But our children don't get a chance to develop such skills in a system that's based on industrial age values. Lack of autonomy and control. At school, our children experience a complete...
The first problem is about industrial age and the fact that school is teaching us to follow rules. And personally, I don't think there is a big problem with following rules, especially because we still have industries existing even in the modern world, So if science has some set of rules on how things are supposed to be done to achieve, let's say, some uniformity, to achieve some, how do I say this? Rules are there to also make sure that the right products come out, because if everyone is supposed to do what they want to do, and then you may not necessarily reach certain targets as a collective. So I still think much as we should be teaching people to be creative and able to create things on their own, we should also still be able to teach them how to follow rules and arrive at a certain collective goals, by sticking together and doing things with the same goal in focus and following the instructions that are needed. I think it is also still important.
Lack of autonomy and control. Every minute of a child's life is tightly controlled by the system. But in today's world, if you're doing important work, then you're managing your own time. You're making your own decisions regarding what to do and when to do it. But life at school looks very different. The system is sending a dangerous message to our children that they are not in charge of their own lives. They just have to follow whatever is laid down instead of taking charge and making the most of their lives. Experts believe autonomy is incredibly important for children. It's no wonder then that our children are bored and demotivated by school. Can you imagine how you would feel if you were told exactly what to do for every minute of your life? Inauthentic learning. Most of
the second problem they're talking about autonomy. Children should be allowed to do things on their own instead of being controlled and put in cage, controlled by bears and all that. It is pretty hard to control children. They are still able to do things they want to do. Only that in the school system, you're trying to instill some values in the children, especially things like timekeeping. If a child is left to do things on his own without control, for example, the bear we're talking about, then the child is not going to be able to follow the time, for example. Just the basic concept of time. Children will not be able to follow time if they are not controlled. So I think it is also still important that children need to be controlled, although they should also, their point is valid because as much as the control should be for a specific period of time, within that school system there is that need for control, because children are not just left to do things on their own.
The learning that happens in schools today is not authentic because it relies on memorization and rote learning. The system defines a generic set of knowledge that all children must know, and then every few months we measure how much has been retained by administering exams. We know that such learning is not authentic because most of it is gone the day after the exam. Learning can be much deeper and more authentic. It can be so much more than just memorization and retention. But that's the only thing we measure, and test scores are the only thing we value. This has created an extremely unhealthy culture for students, parents and teachers. Children are going through endless hours of tuitions, staying up all night memorizing useless facts that they will forget very soon. No room for passions and interests.
Still, the problem with memorization and the exam structure, as they are pointing it out, is valid. Only that I also still think as a child you should be motivated by something. You should, especially in the school system, if there are no tests, then I don't think children will be able to even concentrate on learning something from their books. Okay, after the exam, it is true, a child might forget everything he's learned from that particular lesson, but I think it's still important that exam as an outside force, forcing that student or that child to at least try to learn something, or even to the minimum memorize or try to know something, because he is required to write it in that exam. So I think in some little bit it helps the child also to concentrate a little bit. Without the exam or any mode of exam, I think the child will not be able to concentrate on at least trying to, or be interested in learning whatever is given to them. So I think if the problem is the exam, as they are mentioning it, maybe the exam structure should be changed, or maybe the type of exam should be changed. But I think exams are still a valid way of motivating children to learn.
Interests. We have an extremely standardized system where each child must learn the same thing at the same time in the same way as everyone else. This doesn't respect the basic fact of being human, that each of us is unique and different in our own way. We all have different passions and interests. And the key to fulfillment in life is to find your passion. But do the schools of today help our children find and develop their passion? There seems to be no room in the current education system for the most important questions in a child's life. What am I good at? What do I want to do in life? How do I fit into this world? The system doesn't seem to care. There are so many greatly talented people who failed in the traditional school system. Fortunately, they were able to overcome these failures, but not everyone can. We have no measure for how much talent, how much potential goes unrecognized in the current system. Differences in how we learn. Each of us is also different in.
Is it true that the current education system doesn't allow children to follow their passion or try to figure out what they are good at? Pretty much. Okay, to some extent it is valid. To some extent, I think the schools are still able to give a child a wide spectrum subjects, especially for example maths, history. All these what, for example, if a child is interested in science, for example, being medicine or engineering and all these things, from what from what the child is learning in those science subjects, I think he's able to follow like what he wants to do as far as his future to be a scientist is concerned. Also, the same way issues to do with literature, music, and let's say arts. You know, also a child is able to discover their talent. Those are very valid talent that a child can discover from school. Apart from that, there's also extracurricular activities like sports and also debates, which try to improve the child's speaking so that in the future, if the child is to become a politician, things like that still help in school. I think a lot of people are actually also still finding their passion or what they want to do in life from school. So there's still a value. To some extent, some people fail to do that, and I think some people still find what they love to do from the school systems.
How we learn, in how much time we take to learn something, and what tools and resources work best for us. But the system has no room for such differences. So if you're a bit slow in learning something, you are considered a failure, when all you needed was a bit more time to catch up. Lecturing. In the current...
Yeah, how we learn. I think that's a valid point. The problem with our current school system that I think I can agree on is how we learn. Some people learn through text, reading. Some people learn through lectures, like hearing speeches. Some people learn through visuals, like maybe videos and all that. So people learn through different medium, So that same basic way of giving lectures only and teachers telling you what to do. And some people even learn from their peers, like in a group setting where they discuss freely with their friends. So I think the school system should be able to incorporate all these types of delivery, the learning, or different types of learning materials should be available to children in school, so that at least if somebody doesn't pick up from the lectures in classroom, there is still a reference video, for example, visuals, or maybe I think the books are always provided, but I think the problem is visuals are not always provided in this school. So there is still a lot to explore along that line of how to deliver the learning content to students or to children in school.
System, children are lectured for more than 5 hours a day. But there are a few big problems with lecturing. Sal Khan from Khan Academy calls lecturing a fundamentally dehumanizing experience. 30 kids with fingers on their lips, not allowed to interact with each other. Also, in any given classroom, different students are at different levels of understanding. Now, whatever the teacher does, there are bound to be students who are either bored because they are ahead or confused because they're behind. Because of the internet and digital media, our children have at their fingertips all the information in the world. Technology has made it possible for anyone to learn anything. But for fear of losing control, the system is not leveraging these incredible resources. Our system of education, which evolved in the industrial age, has become outdated and ineffective. If we want to prepare our children for the modern world, if we want learning to be effective and engaging, then there's no doubt that we need to fundamentally change our system of education.
That's the end of the video. Very valid video in that it shows us what is still lacking in our education system, like what the future should be like, especially the last point about lecturing. Especially in the universities, I think lecturing is kind of the only tool of delivery that is used. So that is outdated. I'm sorry to say that. It is still valid, lecturing is still valid, but I think there is more that needs to be added to lecturing, especially by the lecturers. You don't have to always come and tell the class this is it, this is it, this is it. You know, just your own lecture, your lecture only. Now, okay, they have this visual where they use slides and all that, but I think it is more important that lecturers should incorporate other types of delivery. For example, videos. For example, just give books. People should read. You know, you don't have to lecture only. I think that is also important moving forward. But I think lecturing is still also valid. All these forms of educating our children is still valid. Only that in the modern world we need to add more to it. You know, we need to customize it. The best form, the best word here is customizing it to, I think, to the preference of each child or each student, how they learn better. So I think the more resources we have, or the more tools we use to enhance the traditional way of education, will be much better for our school system moving forward. That's my opinion based on this video. I hope you liked this video, how I've interacted with it. I'll be reacting to a lot of educational videos and religious videos on my channel. I encourage you to subscribe and share your thoughts on these videos as I'll be dropping them. From me to you today, thank you for listening. I'm out.